Hi, I'm former Eagles punter Sean Landetta, and you're watching CI TV.
Hello and welcome to another edition of CITV Sports. I'm Scott Samuel David Weiss. It's Wednesday, January 9th, 2019. We're at Facenda Whitaker Lanes in East Norriton, Pennsylvania for Suburban American Girls Bowling, featuring the Abington Ghosts of Abington and the Plymouth Whitemarsh Lady Colonials of Plymouth meeting. The Lady Ghosts coached by Brian Wenders, while the Lady Colonials are coached by Jeff Blizzard, who has been the only coach in team history. Abington has Maddie Naparowski, Jess Sokoski, Annie Sokoski, Kayla Hartzell, and Sierra Daling. Maddie Naparowski starts off with a 9 on lane 42. Lauren Cosgrave, Brooklyn Hosses, Destiny Wilson, Nikki Alexander and Ashley Newell are on the lanes for PW. Lauren Cosgrave will start off in lane 41 with a strike. Cosgrave coming into the match with a 131.76 average. Good start for the Lady Colonials. And Neporowski converts her one pin spare. Good start for the senior leadoff. Brooklyn Hosses now. Show off a deal with a 4-pin split. Hosses at a 118.82 average. Here's Annie Sokoski on lane 42 for Abington. Annie averaging 129 in conference play. This is game 1 of 3. We bowl 3 games, and once the games are finished, we tally the scores for a cumulative total. That total counts as the 4th game. So Hosses gets 6 and nothing else, so that is an open for the 2-hole for PW. Sokoski can't convert the split. Right now, it's 19-16 Abington. Destiny Wilson, the free hole for PW on the left lane. Had struggled recently. She has to deal with the 1, 2, 4, and 10 pins. Wilson, who was a Eastern PA regional qualifier last season, right now at a 123.53 average. Jess Sokoski gets all 10. For the Lady Ghosts, who have been to the Eastern PA Regional Tournament in each of the past 4 seasons. So far, spare, open, and strike for the Lady Ghosts. PW strike, open. Now Wilson with her second ball. Can only get 3 out of 4. So back-to-back opens for the Lady Colonials. Here's Kayla Hartzell for Abington. Oh, beautiful ball for her. She gets all 10. Back-to-back strikes for Abington, which is looking for its first conference title since 2016. Last season, PW qualified 4 Lady Colonials to the Eastern PA Singles Tournament. Nikki Alexander was one of the 4 to make it. She'll get 8 on her first ball. Now here's anchor Sierra Daling. And Daling gets Abington's 3rd strike in a row. That's 3 strikes, a spare, and an open for the Ghost. 49 after 1 frame in game 1. PW at 33 right now. Sierra Daling averaging 156.57 right now. That's 4th best in the Suburban American League. Entering January 9th. Alexander does a nice job picking up the 5 and 9 pins for the spare. It'll bring up Ashley Newell, the sophomore anchor for PW. Her brother Jake Newell, who graduated last school year, was on PW for 3 years. This is Newell's 4th conference match of the season. She had missed some time. She'll knock down 7, leaving the free 6 and 10 pins. Newell at a 155.56 average. She'll finish off the first frame of game 1 with a spare. PW with a strike. 2 spares and 2 opens. It's 49-45 Abington after 1 frame. Abington averaging 702 a game, while PW's at 636. Lauren Cosgrave with her second frame, and she has a double. Back-to-back strikes. Now here's Naprolowski. Can't get the 10 to fall. Maddie Naprolowski, her high series is 509 this season. During the 2017-18 school year, she had 4 200 games, looking for her first in conference play this season. Nice ball for Brooklyn. Haasas, back-to-back strikes for the Lady Colonials. Haasas has 16 through 2, 75-67 PW. Nice job for Naprolowski. An interesting approach, like she's a left-handed bowler, but bowling right-handed. And she has back-to-back spares. So it's 75-68 PW in the middle of the second frame of game 1 against Abington. Wilson misses the middle. She'll leave the 1 free and 6 pins. Annie Solkoski after a split miss. This time will leave, I believe, the 6. So that's Diddy Wilson. Last season averaged 136.27, finished 3rd place at the Suburban One American Tournament, which was held at Facenda Whitaker Lanes. Jocelyn Wincoop won that. Sierra Daling came in 2nd. Wincoop was at 617, Daling 610 free game series. And a good pickup for Wilson. That's 5 straight marks for Lady Colonial Bowlers, who lead 85-77, as Solkoski's second ball will nip the pins. And that's Annie Solkoski's first mark. That's 5 marks in a row for the Lady Ghosts. Bring up Nikki Alexander, who didn't really pick up bowling until the beginning of the 2017-18 school year, if I'm not mistaken, and has improved as the months have gone by. So Jess Solkoski, after a strike, her first frame opens with 9. Jess Solkoski at 128.85 as her average. Alexander has PW's lone 200 game this season, and she leaves it down the middle, will pick up nothing. That will end the run of PW marks at 5 in a row. So Alexander now has 26. Jess Solkoski, her second ball, and she'll just miss it a little right of the pin. Now here's Ashley Newell. Newell has to deal with a split. It's 113-96 PW in frame 2 of game 1. In this Suburban One American matchup, Kayla Hartzell will knock down 8 after a first frame strike. This is a very good approach for Newell, but she'll only knock down 2. But right idea. It's 115-112 PW after 2. Still Hartzell's second ball and Sierra Daling for Abington. So PW picked up 2 strikes, a spare, and 2 opens. Right now, 3 strikes, 3 spares, and 4 opens for the Lady Colonials. And that will be an open for Hartzell. We'll already start the 3rd frame for Maddie Naprolowski, and she gets her first strike of the match. Maddie Naprolowski, one of 4 Abington bowlers in program history to qualify for regionals twice. She's trying to become the 2nd and or 3rd to make it 3 times. And she has 2 spares and a strike. Naprolowski 49 through 3. Sierra Daling will finish her 2nd frame, though, for Abington. Daling of the Daling sisters. In the past, also had Erica and Dana. Sierra, after a first frame strike, leaves the 4 and 7 pins. Sierra Daling this season, free 200 games and free 500 series. Abington has done a 600 series since Dana Daling in the 2015-16 season. Good pickup for Daling. The 2-pin spare. Free spares, 2 opens. That frame for Abington. Marina Borowski already had her third frame roll. It was a strike for Abington, and now Lauren Cosgrave and Rain 41 for PW trying to get a turkey. Can't get it. Lauren Cosgrave has been vastly improved so far this season. Last season, bowled only 10 games for the Lady Colonials on varsity. 108.2 was her average, with 143 high game, 338 high series. This season, a 460 high series and a 176 game. Has played in every game so far on varsity. So she has vastly improved. She has a 131.76 average, which right now is number 16 in the conference. She has bowled enough games already to qualify for regionals. Right now, outside the top 10, though. Cosgrave will try to pick it up. Oh, misses the 10. Right approach, though. Head coach Jeff Blizzard knows she got robbed. Annie Solkowski now in the right lane for Abington. And she'll have to deal with the middle and a few other pins. Brooklyn Haasses also misses the middle. Have to deal with the 1, 3, and 9 pins. After this match, there will be 6 conference matches remaining for each team. Only your conference matches count for postseason qualifying. Only 1 of 4 pins converted for Solkowski. So that's her second open frame, and Brooklyn Haasses picks it up. Her second consecutive mark. PW now has 5 spares. We're in the middle of frame 3 of game 1. Abington slight lead, 167 to 160. But PW defeated Abington in the previous meeting this season, 3-1, 21-23 to 2067, December 5th, 2018 at Pike Lanes. Abington has since lost only 3 games in conference play. Destiny Wilson leaves the 6 to start her third frame, and Jess Solkowski rushed it and leaves 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7 pins. Destiny Wilson came in 3rd place at Suburban 1 American Tournament last season with a 552 series. She did not have a 500 series during the regular season last year. PW is actually looking for its first 500 series from any bowler in conference play this season. And this is officially the start of the second half. Good pickup for Wilson. Back-to-back spares for her. How about 3 straight spares for the Lady Colonials? 179 to 172 PW as Jess Solkowski will finish a frame. She'll leave 1 pin. Back-to-back opens for her. Give her 37. We're in the 3rd frame of game 1. Nikki Alexander after an 8 open. And it looks like she'll have to deal with a split, the 3-10. PW 0 for 1 so far, 0 for 3 on split so far. 0 for 2, that is. Kayla Hartzell gets her second strike. Alexander dealing with the 3 and 10 pins. It is a manageable conversion. That will do. And that's PW's first split conversion. 189 to 186, entering the anchor portion of frame 3, game 1. Sierra Daling leaves the goalposts. It's a 7-10 split. Very rarely converted. Here's Ashley Newell, and she gets all 10. Her first strike. This PW's fourth strike. How about this? 1 strike, 4 spares, no opens, an open free frame for PW. But Sierra Daling with the split opportunity now. Abington leads 202 to 199. It looks like she'll get just the 10. So that frame, 2 strikes, no spares, 3 opens for Abington. 203 to 199. Lady Ghosts entering the 4th frame. So Maddie Napriolowski, the only current member of this team that had been a conference champion. 2015-16 team, she was a freshman. That was the last time Abington was a conference champion. That season, 2015-16, was 47-9, 758 team average. Lauren Cosgrave, 3 strikes and 4 frames. She's looking to have a career match. Napriolowski, though, a split 7. Failed conversion, though, gets 2 of 3. She's at 67 through 4. Brooklyn Hosses, back-to-back marks. Although having trouble getting to the center of lane 42. Annie Solkowski. Thought she was robbed. We'll try to get to 6 for the 1-pin spare. PW right now has 5 strikes. Cosgrave has 3 of them. Hosses, a much better ball. And earns the spares, so 2 spares in a row for her. Give her 49 and counting for 4 in game 1 of 3. Annie Solkowski will pick it up. Nice job for her. Abington leads 231 to 222, entering our freehold bowlers in lane 41-42 and frame 4 of game 1. Destiny Wilson now looking for her first strike. It was a much better ball. Coach Jeff Blizzard applauds the effort. Now in the left lane, it's Jess Solkowski. She'll leave 4 pins. After a strike in the first frame, open and open. Doesn't want her 3rd straight open. Wilson's 2nd. And it hung up long enough. And Wilson with 3 straight spares. That's 57 and counting for 4 in the first game. 241 to 237 after that roll in favor of PW. Only 2 of 4 picked up for Jess Solkowski on the spare opportunity. That's her 3rd straight open. She's at 45. And Alexander shanked it left, getting just the 7. Nikki Alexander bowls all the games in this match. She'll be eligible for postseason. You need to bowl at least half of your varsity games on the season in order to qualify for the Eastern PA Regionals, which are March 1st and 2nd, 2019 at 222 Dutch Lanes in Ephrata, Pennsylvania. Kayla Hartzell got 9 on her first roll in frame 4 for Abington. In case you're wondering, Abington is a full member of Suburban One American for the first time this school year. Hartzell with her 3rd mark in 4 frames, 2 strikes, a spare, and an open. Hartzell with 58. Kayla Hartzell has 200 games this season. Her high is 217. Ashley Newell, her last 2 rolls have been better. Now we're in the anchor leg. PW up 268 to 259. Pending the rolls, PW averaging 636 at this point in the season. Last year had a 696 average, so 60 pin minus. And Newell lands it to the right gutter. So back-to-back opens. PW has 6 opens, but adds 2 more spares and a strike. That's 9 spares for PW and 5 strikes. Sierra Daling has a deal of 8 pins as Maddie Borowski starts with the 5th frame. And the senior did not want to deal with another split opportunity. Naparowski's high series this season is 509. And Daling with her second straight open frame. She has 55. It's 276 to 268 before that roll. And the fifth frame of game one, Naparowski has her for spare and her fourth mark. And now here's Warren Cosgrave. Oh, she has to deal with the dreaded 7-10 split. Jeff Blizzard wants her to get one pin. Jeff Blizzard has been the head coach, the only head coach of this team. The bowling program was established in the fall of 2004. PW has never been to the team regional tournament. Third place was the best in conference play, but did not have a high enough average to get in. That was back in 2010. Cosgrave's going to miss it. That's her second open. Now Annie Solkowski on the right lane for Abington. Abington wearing black shirts. Will convert it, it appears. Good job for Annie Solkowski. Her third spare. Brooklyn Hassis will leave 5. Abington used to wear maroon colored shirts that had buttons going from top to bottom. That looked like the smocks you would wear in art class. Jerseys have improved for each school year after year. There have been only 9 bowlers in Abington girls' history to qualify for Eastern PA regionals. Maddie Borowski and Sierra Daling are 2 of them. And Brooklyn Hassis picks up her third straight spare. That's 4 straight marks at 64 and counting for her. Her high gain this season, 159 for 444 high series. Destiny Wilson. Now in the left lane for PW. Still looking for her first strike. She'll leave the 5 pin. So Abington 22-6, tied for first with North Penn. Hatboro Horsham is probably one of the surprise teams right now in Suburban 1 American at 21-7 with an average of 625. Hatboro Horsham, once upon a time, went 2 consecutive seasons without a game win. So Matt Fielder's done a great job rebuilding the program. Wilson's second ball is right down the middle, head on. Her 4th straight spare after her first frame open. She's at 76 and counting for 5 in game 1. PW has a 318 to 302 edge. If PW could take 3 games out of 4 here, then that would be 6 out of 8 for the season series. PW is 6 games behind first, but can make it up in this match. And it's Jess Solkowski with her 4th straight open frame. Nikki Alexander, though, has the 1, 2, and 8 pins to deal. Kayla Hartzell has the 6-10 to deal. She knocked down 8. During the 2017-18 season, Hartzell averaged 140.12. Had a pair of 200 games, including a 235. Even had a 570 series last season. Alexander finds the way, and PW has 3 consecutive bowlers with a spare this 5th frame. Alexander with 55 and counting. Too far left, needed it to go more right, and Hartzell messed up. Ashley Newell has her second split. Sierra Daling, after strike spare, has back-to-back opens. Sierra Daling looking to go to regionals for the third straight season. Last year was a wild card at large bid. Ashley Newell could pick up 1 of 2. So no strikes, 3 spares, and 2 split opens for PW in the 5th. Right now 5 strikes, 12 spares, and 8 opens through 5 for PW in game 1. Daling leaves that in the left gutter. So no strikes, 2 spares, and 3 more opens for Abington. It's 337 to 330 PW through 5 as Niporowski starts it off with 9 on the left lane for Abington. Still looking for her first 200 game of the season. Cosgrave now. Can't knock down the 7. PW also has an assistant coach, Katie Gear. It's her first season at that position. Taking over for Bob Colt, who had previously been in that position. Niporowski picks up her 5th mark in 6 frames. 96 and counting. Her high this season's 178. Cosgrave will pick it up. Good bounce back after a split 8 open in the 5th. Now Annie Solkoski for Abington. And having trouble getting the head pin initially. She knocks it down on the ricochet. So she'll leave just a 5 to deal with, much better than if she had a couple pins. Now here's Brooklyn Hossis. Again, having trouble knocking down the head pin. However, Hossis, after a first frame open, has 4 straight marks. Annie Solkoski cannot brush the 5. So Solkoski has her 3rd open, leaving the door open for Plymouth Whitemarsh, which is coming off of a 4-0 win against Penridge at Earl Bowl in Earlington. And what's impressive is Penridge is 13 and 15 with only 4 bowlers. You actually need 5 bowlers for a full team in a game, but only 4 participate for Penridge and have won 13 games. We'll probably have more on why Penridge is surprisingly good with only 4 bowlers later on. How about Brooklyn Hossis with her 5th straight mark, her 4th spare in a row? How about back-to-back spares for PW? Better ball for Wilson, but she cannot knock down the 4. Here's Jess Solkoski in the left lane, and she gets all 10. How about this? That's Abington's first strike since Kayla Hartzell in the 3rd frame. That's Jess Solkoski's 2nd. Only the 6th of the game so far for Abington, and we're in game 1, frame 6. PW slightly ahead, 381 to 377. PW's high game so far this season, 784. Looks like Wilson gets the job done for the 5th straight frame. 5 straight spares for her. PW more marks than opens. And Kayla Hartzell gets 9 in her first ball. Nikki Alexander looking for her first strike now for PW on the right lane. So Alexander gets 9. Alexander was 1 of 4 Lady Colonials to qualify for Eastern PA individual regionals last year. It was Alexander, Destiny Wilson, Ashley Newell, and Nicole Esposito. Esposito is in attendance from college break. She's a freshman in college. And Kayla Hartzell picks the 1-pin spare. Esposito is missed, but Lady Colonial's glad she's in attendance to cheer him on. Alexander's second ball is head on. Her 2nd straight spare. PW has 4 spares in a row. Here's Sierra Daling, the anchor. And Daling in danger of 4 straight opens. Here's Ashley Newell, the sophomore anchor for PW. That was a much better ball. So if Ashley Newell could get consistent, maybe she could do as well as former Penridge anchor Jen Stevens, who started out in the 170s as a freshman and then averaged in the 200s her next 3 years. Stevens was at Penridge from 2010 to 14. Looks like Newell's going to get this one. And it is a spare-filled 6 frame for PW. 0 strikes, 5 spares, but no opens. And Daling has 4 straight opens. PW up 411 to 395 through 6 frames in game 1. We have 10 frames per game. Manny Neporowski had a 482 series in the first of 2 meetings this season. Had a 171 high game. Daling had a 505 series, including a 215 game in the 3-1 loss to PW on December 5th, 2018 at Pike Lanes. Abington used to bowl at Thunderbird Willow Grove. That is a non-existent bowling alley now. Abington now bowls at Pike. Neporowski will get it all. 3 straight spares for Manny Neporowski, the leadoff for Abington. 113 counting through 7. Cosgrave will break 100. We'll have to deal with the 1 and 3 pins. Now Annie Solkowski. Has 3 opens and 3 spares. Lauren Cosgrave, the only Lady Colonial right now to have not missed any games on varsity. She'll only get 1. So 8 and 1. That's her second open. It's her third open, actually. Sorry, so strike, open, spare open. 108 and counting. Solkowski with her second straight 1-pin miss. Jess Solkowski will be next on the right lane for Abington. In case you're wondering, the top 10 bowlers would qualify in the league based on average automatically once the regular season concludes, and then I believe 5 at-larges will qualify based off of the series who haven't already qualified at Suburban 1 American Tournament. Brooklyn Haasas will only get 1, so back-to-back opens for PW. It's 443 to 421 Lady Colonials. Last few years, Abington has been a tough opponent for PW. Lady Colonials need to get at least 2 wins in this match to take the season series. Destiny Wilson with her first X of the match. 6 straight marks for her. That's 115 and counting. Now Jess Solkowski on the right lane for Abington. Abington last season 17th out of 31 teams at the Eastern PA Team Championship. And that will be split uprights 4 and 6, a split opportunity for Jess Solkowski. Nikki Alexander will follow Destiny Wilson with a strike of her own. That's Alexander's first X. 94 and counting through 7 in game 1. Before the back-to-back strikes, PW did not get a strike since Lauren Cosgrave in frame 4. So Solkowski missed her opportunity. And what about this? How about that? Ashley Newell with her second strike. How about 3 strikes in a row for PW bowlers? 503 to 439 through 7. And Kayla Hartzell gets her third strike of the match so far for Abington. 104 and counting through 7. Manny Neporowski will start frame 8 for Abington in the left lane. Sierra Daling will continue to 7th on the right. Neporowski might have to slow down and perhaps let her teammate begin before she goes on. That might break her concentration, but nice job by Sierra Daling. just her second strike so far, her first since the opening frame. 2 strikes, a spare, and 2 opens for Abington. Through 7, PW leads 503 to 487. For Lauren Cosgrave has her turn for PW. It is an unorthodox approach for Borowski, and she gets an open frame for the second time. Cosgrave has an ugly looking second ball here. Now here's Annie Solkowski. Much better ball for her. That's another 9 count on her first roll. And Cosgrave with back-to-back opens. It's her 4th open frame. 115 through 8 for the PW leadoff. Annie Solkowski. Oh, not enough spin. That's another open frame. 3 in a row for her. Brooklyn Hasses gets a 7 count. So right now, PW with 8 strikes. In case you're wondering, PW right now with just 1 200 game this season. 2017-18 had 7. And Hasses converts. 5 spares now in her last 6. 105 and counting for the 2-hole. Now Jess Solkowski in lane 41, the left side for the Lady Ghost of Abington. Fortunate that she doesn't have to deal for 7-10. Another good ball for Destiny Wilson. The 7 won't budge. Wilson opened only the first frame of this game and has gotten spare strike ever since. Jess Solkowski will finish up in the gutter. 3 opens in a row for Abington bowlers. It's 538 to 505 PW. And the conference leading Ghosts struggling right now. And it's a team that took 3 of 4 to open the conference season. How about Destiny Wilson? How about 7 marks in a row? That will definitely help the scorecard. Give her 135 and counting, and Kayla Hartzell, though, cannot follow up on her 7th frame strike. So right now, 540, 523 PW in the 8th frame of game 1. We'll have 3 games total. Nikki Alexander getting encouragement from coaches and fans. Now Hartzell will have her second ball in the left lane here at Facenda. 4 straight opens for Abington bowlers. Hartzell averaging 142.9. Might hit her average. Alexander's second ball. Alexander averaging a little over 142. We'll get all of them. Well, Alexander 4 straight frames with a spare strike. Give her 114 and counting. PW extends the lead to 560 to 523. Now the anchor leg of frame 8 in game 1. Ashley Newell. 3rd straight season, PW has a different anchor. For Newell, it's Nicole Esposito. Before Esposito, 3 seasons in a row, Francesca Schotel-Colelli. Sierra Daling, keeping her team in it with back-to-back strikes of her own. She'll have 102 and counting. And that was not that good of a frame. 1 strike, no spares, 4 opens for the Ghosts. And Newell, though, helps her cause with her 3rd straight mark. PW, no strikes, 4 spares, 1 open. That's 11 open frames for the Lady Colonials in the game. 580 to 543 as Cosgrave begins the 9th for game 1. when we get to the 10th frame, the most amount of balls a bowler can roll is free. It's the bonus frame. Matty Neporowski dances the pin down. That is legal as long as you don't really do too much. 141 for her. And it's 588 to 553. Cosgrave will need to get both of them here, and she will. Not enough spin, apparently. 3 consecutive open frames for Lauren Cosgrave, the PW leadoff. Annie Solkowski rolls it to the left side, but here's Haasas right down the middle. Can't get the 10 down. So this is a match that PW really needs to get wins if it wishes to climb up on the leaderboard, because right now it does not have enough pins to get in that large for regionals, because you're also competing with teams from Suburban 1 National Conference. It's the top 2 teams from the National and American conferences to automatically qualify, and then you have 2 wild cards from either of the leagues based on total pinfall, and Haasas, well, will help the pinfall with another spare. She has just 2 open frames through 9, 130, 124 and counting for her. 608 to 561. Annie Solkowski opened her 8th frame, her 9th frame. Now here's Jess Solkowski. Now, as long as PW keeps taking advantage of Abington's misses, the Lady Colonials can pick up some ground in the conference standings. And Destiny Wilson trying to keep her mark streak alive. 7 frames and counting so far. 145 is her score. 618 to 567. PW. Oh, that's going to be nothing on the second ball for Jess Solkowski. She only has 2 strikes, no spares, and the rest are opens through 9. That's now 22 and counting open frames by Abington bowlers. PW much better. 12 opens. Wilson's second ball, though, after 5, and her mark streak ends. That's her second open frame. 619 to 567. PW's Kayla Hartzall. Well, you really need strikes right now if you're Abington. That's an 8 count. Alexander, though, nice pin movement. Avoiding danger. Now, after this frame, we'll go to the 10th frame, and after the 10th will be the end of game 1. Coaches are allowed to make substitutions in between games should they choose. Good pickup for Kayla Hartzall, her 3rd spare. Now Alexander will pick up the 2 pin for her 1 pin spare. Nikki Alexander, 6 spares, a strike, and 2 opens. Now here's Sierra Daling. Her double will not become a turkey. 7 pins she knocks down on the right lane. Here's anchor Ashley Newell for PW. Qualified for regionals last season. Finished 91st out of 150 at regionals with an 805 5-game series. Sierra Daling at regionals last season, 130 out of 150 with a 729 5-game series. Now Daling's second ball, and she'll only knock down 2. So 3 opens, a spare and a strike for the Lady Ghosts, and Newell robbed. She'll get 3 of 4. So 3 opens, 2 spares, no strikes for PW. Now the pivotal final frame in game 1. Each bowler can have a maximum of 3 balls. Manny Naporowski on a 141 right now and a strike. Terrific start for the senior leadoff for Abington. 2 strikes in a row. She'll have 2 more balls. Cosgrave can't answer the call there, but she has a chance to pick up the spare and get a bonus ball as well. Cosgrave really needs to convert. PW up 662 to 622. Abington averages 702 per conference game. PW though 636. Second ball. Can't get the turkey for Brian Wender's squad. 179. She ties her season high. Cosgrave can't get it. Maddie Naporowski has just posted a new season high. Her previous high was 178. She's at 179 and counting. Cosgrave finishes at 133. Naporowski can't get her first 180 of the season. 179 for Maddie Naporowski, but it's a new season high. A lot more to work on. Haas will knock everything down. It's a big strike for the PW2 hole. That's her second straight of the game. Now here's Annie Solkoski, who really needs a mark. So Annie Solkoski, 3 spares, and the rest of her frames have been opens. Haas's second ball won't knock everything down, but she'll get a bonus ball. So she'll deal a 7 right now at 151. Her average is 118.82, so much better. So each time you improve your average, better your score. Solkoski can't nick it. Open for her. Annie Solkoski finishes at 114, and Haas can't get any of the remaining 3. So a strike and open for Haas. She'll finish with 151. Entering the 3 holes in frame 10, PW leads 689 to 649. Destiny Wilson at 146 and counting. Over 20 pins above her average. And she will leave the center pin. A 5 won't budge. Abington's Jess Solkoski, meanwhile, leaves the 6 and 10. Wilson will use her bowling ball towel, wipe it down, wipe off the oil. As we progress through each game, oil patterns could shift. Wilson gets it by the grit of the teeth. So she gets a much needed spare, 156 and counting. PW is going to hit 700. And Jess Solkoski will pick up, believe it or not, her first spare of the game and the match. Just her 3rd mark. Right now at 107 and counting, Jess Solkoski averaging 128.85 per conference game entering the match. Wilson would like to knock down everything. Can't get the 10, but nice finish. She'll finish with 165. Good bounce for her. And it's a 165 for Wilson. 113 for Solkoski. For Jess Solkoski. So Annie gets 114, Jess 113. Nikki Alexander on the right lane. For Plymouth, Whitemarsh lane 42. Kayla Hartzall for Abington in the left. Needs to reset the pins. You are allowed to have a re-rack if pins give difficulty. Now here's Nikki Alexander. Leaves the 6 at 151 and counting right now. Alexander last year cracked the top 10 averages in league play. In fact, Alexander is one of 10 of 15 regional participants from the conference from last season who returned this season. 5 of the 15 who qualified last year had graduated. Alexander gets a 9 open. She finishes with 151. Hartzell, meanwhile, at a 150. Can't knock it down. She'll finish at 150. Now we're at the anchor leg. PW up 726 to 683. And it's a 9 count for Newell. Looks like PW has game 1. PW's high game this season, 784. PW is about 100 pins above its average. Should Newell take it? It's got to hurry up and she'll get it. PW averaging 636 a game is at 736. Newell with the spare is at 136. Sierra Daling, though, at 127 and counting, will have her turn. Newell's bonus ball will knock down everything. Good finish for the Lady Colonials. 146 PW. 746. Good start. PW had 2 strikes, 2 spares, and 3 opens. First ball for Daling is right down the gut for a strike. Her 4th strike. Sierra Daling. Last season did not have a top 10 average. Right now coming into the match at 156.57, 4th best behind 3rd Madeline Weston of Hatboro, 2nd Joshua Wincup of North Penn at 168.1, and Kelsey Mannon of Penn Ridge, 196.38. Mannon didn't even bowl last year. And that is an 8 count on her 2nd. So PW's going to win the first game. How about this? Out of Abington's 7 game losses this season, 4 will be to PW. And PW will move up a game in the standings for the game, that is. So PW will take game 1. Here's the final whirl. And both pins fall. So that will be a 147 for Daling, below her average, a final of 703. So PW takes the first game over Abington, 746 to 703. And now we are in the second game in the Suburban One America Girls Bowling match as Maddie Borowski starts it off with a 9 count for Abington. Well, PW winning the first game, 746 to 703. Abington, 13 strikes, 12 spares. Actually, 14 spares and 26 opens. Borowski, good start. She had a 179 as a season high in her first game. We'll finish off with a spare. Now Lauren Cosgrave, who had a 133 her first game for PW in the right lane. Cosgrave in the first game started out with 2 strikes, had 3 in the first 4, but had trouble the rest of the way. Now here's Annie Solkowski. And Annie is still looking for her first strike of the match, had a 114 in the first game. I was telling you earlier about Penridge having only 4 bowlers and having a 13-15 record at the halfway point. Well, they have a bowler by the name, the Rams have a bowler by the name of Kelsey Mannon, a 196 average. It's a part of Penridge's success. 8 200 games, 3 500 series, and how about 3 600 series for Kelsey Mannon of Penridge. There hadn't been a bowler like her since former Penridge bowler Jen Stevens, who averaged in the 200s. So Silkowski picks up Annie, that is a spare, and Haas knocks down all 10. Good start for her after the Cosgrave 3 and 6. Jess Silkowski now should have her turn unless Jess Silkowski has been substituted. Big Jesselkowski has been substituted after a 113. We are going to have a player substitution in the free hole for Abington. Destiny Wilson wearing a compression sleeve on her right arm. Finished off strong in the first game for 165. We'll leave the 1, 2, 4, and 10 pins. Wilson entering the day at a 123.53. She can get 150s throughout. Her average will improve. So the second leading bowler in the league, Jocelyn Wincoop, has had difficulty after her last 2 seasons. As a sophomore and junior, North Penn's Wincoop, 24 combined 200 games, entering January 9th with 2 total as a senior. It's a much different year. Wilson can only get to 10, so 1 out of 4. So 2 opens and a strike. PW in the first game, I think, had 10 strikes, 25 spares, and 17 opens. Abington had more opens than PW, and that's why PW won game 1, 746 to 703. So we are waiting right now for the new bowler to be inserted to the lineup. It could be Sarah Lewis, Julia Russell, or Chloe Guessing. Those are rubber bowlers who had seen action. Sarah Lewis has 10 games of action. Russell has 8, and Chloe Guessing has 1 game on varsity. Sarah Lewis is going to take over for Jess Sokoski. Lewis on varsity averaging 125.4 this season with a 178 high game, a 435 high series. We'll leave the 5 pins of Sarah Lewis in for Jess Sokoski or Brian Wender's squad. Nikki Alexander now in the right lane for the Lady Colonials. And she'll have to deal with a split. She did convert a split in the first game. She has to deal with the 5-10. Sarah Lewis' second ball is head on. Sarah Lewis continuing the spare streak. 3 bowlers, 3 spares to begin game 2, and Alexander has PW's third open and 4 individual frames in frame 1 of game 2. Here's Kayla Hartzall. She'll leave the 10 on the left lane for Abington. Coming with Whitemarsh anchor Ashley Newell trying to right the ship here on the right lane. Leaves the 10 though. Ashley Newell's dad in attendance. I've been a big supporter of PW. Mr. Newell had attended just about every bowling match when her brother Jake had bowled for the Colonials on the boys varsity squad the last few years. So Hartzall got an open frame. Newell, meanwhile, will pick it up. Good recovery. PW with 1 strike, 1 spare, and 3 opens. 44 after 1 in game 2, leading 1 game to none. There's Sierra Daling trying to bounce back from a 147, and that's a good start for the anchor. And it's a strike for her. 1 strike, 3 spares, 1 open for Abington. Abington leads 49 to 44 after 1 frame in game 2. Maddie Niporowski now starting from left to right, right-handed. Niporowski coming off a 179 first game, her season best. But last season had 4 200s. Cosgrave only gets a pair. Not the same start as game 1 when she had back-to-back strikes. Naporowski finished 8th at Suburban Ones last season, which was held here at Facenda Whitaker, and that's back-to-back spares for the leadoff So Dana Daling is the only Lady Ghost to qualify for regionals 3 times. Neporowski has been there twice, so has Sierra Daling. So they're trying to do something that only one bowler has done so far. And not a good start for Cosgrave, back-to-back open. She's at 18 and counting. And that's a split. A 7-9 right now for Annie Silkowski. Brooklyn Haas is on a strike. 2 in a row. 151 first game. Third straight frame with her strike. She did have 1 strike in the 10th frame of game 1. Annie Silkowski's second ball might not get any. And that's a break for PW. Just a second open frame so far in game 2 for Abington. We'd like to wish everyone a Happy New Year. If you haven't tuned in to CITV so far in 2019, this is our first edition of CITV Sports in 2019. Again, I'm Scott Samuel David Weiss. Our first edition in 2019 again is Suburban 1 American Girls bowling action. Abington at PW. Destiny Wilson, her first strike of game 2 and PW's second straight bowler with an X. Here's Sarah Lewis taking over for Jess Silkowski, leaving the 1, 3, and 9 pins. Nikki Alexander looking to continue to strike train in the left lane. At least it's not a split. Right now it's 98 to 90 pending rolls. Abington early on in game 2. Just 1 of 3 there for Lewis. Back-to-back opens for Abington bowlers. Abington has sent a bowler to regionals in each of the past 5 seasons, 5 consecutive seasons, and Alexander leaves all the pins there. And Hartzell gets her first mark of game 2, a strike. Abington's second. Now Ashley Newell. All 10. 3 strikes, no spares, 2 opens for the Lady Colonials, who have 110 for 2 in game 2. PW won the first game 746 to 703. Sierra Daling will knock down the 7, but can't get the 4. So Abington up 127 to 110, entering the 3rd. Maddie Neporowski will be in the left lane for Abington to start the 3rd frame. All 10 for Maddie Neporowski. 3 frames, 3 marks. Her first strike, give her 49 and counting. Daling, though, is going to put that in the gutter. So in the 2nd frame, 1 strike, 1 spare, 3 opens for the Ghosts. Now Sierra Daling, part of a bowling family. Her older sisters Erica and Sierra have been really good. In fact, I believe Dana Daling is the only Lady Ghost with a 200-plus game at the Team Regional Eastern PA Tournament. There was a 202 in 2016. Abington has been to the Team Regionals in each of the past 4 seasons. Annie Silkowski can't buy a strike. She's still without a strike in this match. Lauren Cosgrave started her 3rd frame with a 9 count, leaving the 7. Or, hold on, wrong bowler. Not sure if that's an infraction, but Annie Silkowski rolled in the long lane. That was not Lauren Cosgrave. Cosgrave was supposed to bowl in the right lane, lane 42. So the top 10 averages right now in Suburban 1 American: Kelsey Mann and Penridge, 196.38. Jocelyn Wincoop, North Penn, 168.1. Madeline Weston, Haparrow, 158.86. For Sierra Daling, Abington, 156.57. Niporowski is 5th at 155.89. 6th, Ashley Newell, 155.56. Wiz Detweiler of Penridge, 153.67. Melissa Williams of Penridge, 8th, 151.81. Angela Kaufman, 9th. Penridge, 151.67. 10. Hartzall of Abington, 142.9. How about this? All 4 of Penridge's bowlers are in the top 10. And Penridge doesn't have a full team. That's impressive. Now, Upper Moreland is 0-28 in conference play entering January 9th. That's because Upper Moreland has only 2 bowlers this season. One of them being Casey Kroll of Upper Moreland at a 137 average, right now 13th with 1 200 game. Tentatively, CITV is scheduled to do the Senior Day match for girls, PW versus Upper Moreland, January 30th, 2019. That is to be determined and circumstances permitting. Lauren Cosgrave will get a strike. Her first X of Game 2 had 3 in the first game. Brooklyn Haas's with a double, and Solkoski with the 7-10 split now. Haas's will not get the turkey. We haven't had any turkeys yet in this match. It would be nice for PW to start getting some 200s and 500 series. PW hasn't had a 600 series since Francesca Schroeder-Colelli during the 2016-17 season. Schroeder-Colelli has the PW high series mark of 669 from December of 2015. It's a good pickup, 1 out of 2 on the 7-10 for Solkoski, but that is an open. Haas's with her first open, only 2 of the 3 on a 7 count. She's at 55 through 3 in Game 2, 156 to 145 Abington. Sarah Lewis now will have to deal with the 1 and 3 pins on the left lane, and she subbed in for Jess Solkoski, who had a 113 in Game 1. Cassidy Wilson, off a strike, gets an 8 count to begin her third frame in the right lane. PW down by 3 pins, 164 to 161, but won the first game, 746 to 703. Second ball for Lewis, gets both. Lewis, 2 spares and an open. Wilson trying to pick up the 2-pin spare. He's got to hurry up. Can't get any. Back-to-back opens for the Lady Colonials. Kayla Hartzell on the strike. Can't get a messenger to knock down the 10. Abington needs to find consistency. Alexander knocks down 9 after back-to-back open frames, looking to pick off a mark. It's right now 184 to 170 in the third frame, Abington. Good pickup for Hartzell. Back-to-back marks for the Ghosts. Abington trying to get its second conference title in the last 4 seasons. And its 5th straight Eastern PA team regional appearance. Alexander is going to get it, it looks like. And she does. Her first mark is a spare in frame 3 of Game 2. 25 and counting for the 4-hole. Anchor Sierra Daling. All 10. Second strike in 3 frames. For Sierra Daling. 2 strikes, 2 spares at an open for Abington in frame 3. Newell, though, has to slow down. An 8 count, but it has to be a split conversion. Not an easy one. It's the 8-10. Coming off a spare and a strike, though. She'll get 1. That's all you need. It's 196 to 189. Abington for free frames in game 2. PW won the first game, though, 746 to 700 free. PW finished the third frame with a strike, a spare, and 3 opens. So right now, 8 opens through 3. Had 4 opens through 3 in the first game. Manny Niporowski to start the 4th frame in the light lane. Not enough speed. Now, Cosgrave on a strike in the left lane. A little too far right. Niporowski might have just rolled it in the gutter. So that's her first open, Niporowski, in the second game. Lauren Cosgrave will get her ball before it's time for Annie Solkoski. It's got to go left. That's how you do it. Good pickup for Lauren Cosgrave. Her first spare of game 2, and she has 48 and counting. Now here's Annie Solkoski. And that's her first strike of the match. No strikes in the first game, and now 1 here. Brooklyn Haas's, though, a 7 count. And lane 41. The Suburban One League Bowling Facebook page is your source for present and past standings for Suburban One League. Find out averages, high games, high series, and other statistics. Visit facebook.com and search SOL Bowling. So right now, Abington up 220 to 216. PW hanging in there. But you cannot continue doing that if you're PW. Had a brilliant first game, and Haas's now back-to-back open frames for her at 62 and counting. Sarah Lewis, though, has 2 spares and an open, has a 9 count to begin her 4th frame in game 2. Leslie Wilson now. Oh, nice ball. But she leaves the 5 and 7. It is manageable. Wilson, one of 4 Lady Colonials to make regional singles last year. PW has made the individual regional tournament with at least 1 bowler. And every season, dating back to 2009, each of the past 10. 2008 is the only season PW failed to send 1 bowler to the singles competition. So Lewis picked up another spare. Meanwhile, Wilson with an open. Now it's 239 to 224 Abington for Hartzell. But she can't get the 10 to go down. So this is a huge 4th frame for Alexander on a spare. Well, the good news is it's not a split. So all you need to do is knock down the 6 and 10 pins. Now Hartzell will brush aside that 10. Hartzell open, strike, spare, spare for 58 and counting through 4 in game 2 after a 150 first game. Alexander on the left lane for PW needs these 2. That 10 didn't want to budge. Newell really needs a strike here because Abington is gaining ground right now. Daling, though, has a split. Sierra Daling, the anchor for Abington. And Newell has a much better outlook. It's 272 to 249 Abington in frame 4. Abington right now at 22 and 7. PW 17 and 12. PW though in 4th place entering the day. Abington wearing all black. And Newell picks it up. No strikes, 2 spares, 3 opens. Daling can only knock down 2. So a split open. 1 strike, 2 spares, 2 opens for Abington. For 4 frames in game 2, it's Abington 276, Plymouth Whitemarsh 251. PW leads 1 game to none. Maddie Niprowski off of an open frame, looking to rebound. She does so. Her second strike of game 2. That was her 5th frame. She's at 73 and counting. No 200 games yet this season after 4 last season, helping Abington to a 44-12 record. Now there's Cosgrave. Trying to get her 3rd straight mark. Annie Solkowski off of her 1st strike of the match. And now she's in a groove. She's on a double. Not only back-to-back strikes for her, but back-to-back strikes for Abington. And Abington is feeling it now. And it's not based on the number of games you play. It's also based on total pinfall as well for the result. And this looks like PW might be losing some steam here. Cosgrave, her 3rd open. Lewis, though, knocks down 9. 3 spares and an open for Sarah Lewis. Brooklyn Hassis, meanwhile, on the right lane for the Lady Colonials. Oh, that's a really good ball, but gets 9 to show for it. She started this game with strike, and then open, and now looking for a spare. PW hasn't gotten a strike since Cosgrave on the 3rd frame. PW had 10 strikes in the 1st game and still managed to win by 43. And she'll convert. Even or not, that's only the 6th spare of the game for PW. And PW will take any mark. Sarah Lewis will pick up her 3rd straight spare, her 4th in the game. That's 73 and counting for her. Destiny Wilson would like to forget about the last 2 frames. Both opens. And she'll put the ball down. Suburban One Sports is the Suburban One League's premier high school sports authority, providing athletes and fans the latest sports news, scores, and photos. Visit Suburban One Sports online at www.suburban1sports.com. And that's how you get it done. All 10 for Destiny Wilson. 51 and counting through 5 for her. Kayla Hartzall can't answer the bell. That's her 4th 9 count on the 1st roll in this game. We're in the 5th frame. Now Nikki Alexander follows suit with a strike of her own. So open, spare, strike in frame 5 for PW in the game. It's 343 to 299 Abington. But PW is going to gain ground. Hartzall misses. It's her 2nd 1-pin miss in this game. Now Newell will knock down 8, the PW anchor. And only her 4th match. You need to bowl at least 21 games, not counting your total pinfall. That's half of the slate in conference play to be eligible for the Eastern PA Regionals. The individual competition is scheduled March 1st, 2019 at 222 Dutch Lanes in Ephrata. Suburban One American hasn't had a bowler go to state since Kara Wireman of Penridge in 2015. And that's a great finish. 4 consecutive marks for PW, 2 spares, 2 strikes. PW at 317 right now. Abington at 349, finishing up the 5th frame in game 2. Dowling, after a 6 count, gets the other 4. So 2 strikes, 2 spares, and an open. Now Maddie Niprowski gets her 2nd straight strike. Possibly her first 200 game in the makings of the season, perhaps. Now Lauren Cosgrave for PW. Ball hasn't just been going down the middle that often this game for Cosgrave. Now Annie Solkowski has the match's first turkey. Before her first strike this game, she didn't have any strikes at all in the match. And she'll be trying to find the 4-leaf clover, her next frame. But Cosgrave picks it up. Her third mark of the game. Abington up 403 to 327 though in the game. And Lewis with her first strike of the game. 4 straight marks for the free hole. Brooklyn Hossis in the left lane for the Lady Colonials gets 6. Now Hartzell. And Abington, 4 strikes in a row, has a chance of striking out frame 6. While Hossis doesn't want the lead to continue growing, she'll get PW's 6th straight mark. Now Sierra Daling cannot complete the strike-filled frame, but she has a chance to get her 2nd straight mark. Had a 147 first game. That's about 9 pins below her average. Now here's Destiny Wilson. Leaves the 1, 3, and 1, 2, and 4 pins, that is, on the left lane. Only been a handful of PW bowlers who have made regionals twice in their PW careers. And that's a open free frame for Abington. 4 strikes, 1 spare, no opens. So Francesca Shuttle-Colelli is the only Lady Colonial to qualify for regionals 4 years in a row. Jamie Pugielli made it a couple of times. Amy Costello, Lauren Enslin made it 3 times each. So Wilson only gets 2 more. That's an open frame. Daling, of course, at 85 and counting. We're now going to enter the 6th frame. The 7th frame, that is. Abington leads 452 to 361. Nikki Alexander at a 70 right now after that 9 on the left lane here at Facenda Whitaker. Give you a perspective of how the averages are this season. The top 10 right now, 142.9 to 196.38. Last season's top 10, 146.85 to 177.88. So it's gotten a little stronger considering that a majority of the top 10 have returned. Good 1 pin pickup for Alexander, her 2nd spare of the game in frame 6. Game 2, frame 6, she has 72 and counting. PW has a lot of ground to make up, though, down 452 to 381. Ashley Newell needs a lot of spin. 7's a lot better than what it initially looked like. Newell, as a freshman, averaged 153.21 with a 225 high, 3 200 games, 2 500 series. By the way, not only did the PW girls send 4 bowlers to the regional singles competition last season, but the PW boys had 4 qualifiers as well. That is also a school record. And Jeff Blizzard hoping to do the same this year, but Newell gets her 2nd open of the game. Lauren Cosgrave now lane 42 to right lane to start frame 7 for PW. Abington ahead by close to 50 in the game, but PW won game 1, 746 to 703. Abington was 1 pin above its average. Maddie Niprowowski has her turn. 3 strikes and 2 spares and an open. She is figuring things out. She's got a turkey. Second bowler this match for Abington with a turkey, and Cosgrave leaves 2 behind. It's her 4th open frame. PW in the 6th frame, no strikes, 3 spares, and 2 opens. PW 14 opens through 6. That's now 15. Now here is Hossis after Annie Skolkowski finds a 4-leaf clover. 4 in a row for Annie Skolkowski, who didn't have a strike before that first one in this string. 125 and counting. Much better than her 114 first game, and Abington's in a groove. However, Sarah Lewis rolls it to the right in the left lane for the Ghosts. Abington's boys basketball team defeated PW yet again, this time in a Suburban 1 American boys basketball matchup. I think it was 47-40. Back on January the 4th. Abington girls got the best of PW as well in basketball. Haas's opened. Lewis got a 1 and 5. For just her second open. Sarah Lewis, the freehold for Abington, 105 through 7. Destiny Wilson had a 165 first game. At 69 right now, entering the 7th. And you know it's not good when she walks back before all the pins have a chance to go down. Kayla Hartzall looking to get another strike. But leaves the 10. Abington had 13 strikes, I believe, in the first game. Right now, 13 strikes. And in this game, we're in the 7th frame. So Abington is finding a groove. There's a reason why Abington is near the top of the standings. And this has not been PW's game after a stellar game number 1. Back-to-back open frames for PW. 3 straight in this 7th frame in game 2. Hartzall gets the 1 pin spare. She's at 106 through 7. 544 to 425 Abington. Alexander gets all 10. Her second strike in 3 frames, 3 marks in a row. Give her 92 and counting. Sierra Daling will be in the left for Abington. Ashley Newell in the right for Plymouth Whitemarsh. Right down the middle and gets what she deserves, a strike. Her second of the game. It's a 100 plus for her through 7. 2 strikes, no spares. 3 more opens for the Lady Colonials. Daling opens the 7th with a 7 count. Neporowski will be on the right side to begin the 8th frame. On a turkey. Starts on that final diamond. Wow, look at the ball. That's a clover for her. 4 in a row gives her 153 and counting. Now Sierra Daling, the anchor for Abington, will finish her 7th, but only gets 1 of 3. So 2 strikes, a spare, and 2 opens for the Ghosts in frame 7. We're in frame 8 of game 2. We'll have a 3rd game, and after that, tally all the scores. This is Suburban 1 American girls bowling action on Colonial Instructional Television. And Annie Solkowski, her string of 4 in a row done with the 7 count. Lauren Cosgrave, though, on a 6 count now. 95 is her total. 610 to 461 Abington in the game. Boy, PW really needs to get some strikes, not just spare strikes. So otherwise, even if PW loses this game but wins the 3rd, depending on pinfall, could split the match. And it's a 7 and spare for Solkowski. How about that? 5 marks in a row, 4 strikes in the spare during that run. So 4 strikes, 2 spares, and 2 opens. Annie Solkowski at 152 and counting. Solkowski's season high is 186. Abington bowlers love bowling at Facenda Whitaker. Nice pickup. 6 and the spare for Cosgrave. Her 3rd spare of the game. Give her 99 and counting. Through 8. Sarah Rulis at their solid first rolls on her first 6 frames. Having trouble her next 2 and only gets a pair. Free and free for 111 through 8. Brooklyn Haas is her 3rd strike of game 2. That's her 5th of the match. Give her 109 and counting. 622 to 475 Abington in game 2. PW won the first game 746 to 703. Now here's Destiny Wilson. Cannot get the middle. The 2019 Suburban One American Championship scheduled near the middle of February. A few at-large spots for regionals will be at stake, but bowlers would just like to claim one of 10 top spots by average before that. Wilson has a ways to go if she wants to get a top 10 average, entering at around 123. So it's a split 7 right now for Kara Hartzell. Wilson trying to get these 2. She'll knock down the 1 and 2. It's her first spare and only 3rd mark in the 2nd game. 185 and counting for Destiny Wilson. Through 8. Hartzell going all out, gets none. She was aggressive and it didn't pay off. Nikki Alexander on 3 straight marks, including 2 strikes in the left lane. 1 free and 6 pins she'll deal with. By the way, in case you aren't able to watch us on Channel 28 Verizon Fios and Comcast Cable, CITV is also on YouTube. Make sure you visit www.youtube.com and search Colonial Instructional Television, which includes editions of CITV Sports as well as school board meetings and educational highlights. That's a 7 and 1 for Nikki Alexander. Her first open since the 4th frame. Sierra Daling will leave the 2 and 4 pins. Ashley Newell, the anchor for PW. Gets all of them. That's her first double of the match. And it's 644, 521 Abington. PW finished through 8 frames in game 2. 2 strikes, 2 spares, and an open for PW. Daling picks up a 2-pin spare. A strike, 2 spares, and 2 opens. "14 strikes for Abington this game. Had, I believe, 13 in the first. Those statistics are correct. Maddie Naporowski on a 4 count, looking for 5 in a row. Leaves the 7, so cannot get a 5-bagger, but she's at 180. That's another season high she has just eclipsed. Her season high entering this match was 178, had a 179 game 1. And Cosgrave gets all 10 to begin the 9th frame for PW. This is an important opportunity for Naporowski. She gets it. Matt Naporowski at 182 has a chance at her first 200 since the 2017-18 school year in conference play. Brooklyn Haas trying to follow up. Leaves the 5. Naporowski has just 1 open frame this game. It was a split 7-0 in frame 4, otherwise strikes and spares. Annie Sokoski, 5 strikes in the last 6 frames. Oh, those previous 6 frames now have been marks. She's at 172 and counting. Had a 114 first game, so I guess the oil patterns in Abington's favor this game. And Haas's now answers with a spare. And that's a strike for Sarah Lewis. Things are really heating up here in East Norriton. Abington at 705, PW 561 in the middle of frame 9 in game 2. Abington had only 7-0-3 in the first game, PW at 746. So it appears it will be 1-1, Abington and PW entering the third game, unless something catastrophic happens for Abington. Destiny Wilson. Staring down just the free pin as Kayla Hartzell. Set 120 and counting on the left lane, lane 41 for Abington. Hartzell will leave one pin. After her first ball, she's at 129. Wilson will brush it aside. Back-to-back spares for Destiny Wilson. She's at 104 and counting through 9 in game 2. Nikki Alexander had a much better first game. 151. She's at 108 now. She'll have her turn. Hartzell gets it. And now here's Nikki Alexander. And she'll follow with a strike, her third of the game. Give her 118 and counting. Hartzell's at 130 plus. We're in the anchor leg now. The anchors, Abington, Sierra Daling on the left lane. And that is an open 3. 9th frame, 3 strikes and 2 spares for Abington. Give her 130 and counting, Sierra Daling. That's 17 strikes right now for the Ghosts. And 18 spares. And Newell can only get 1 of the 2 on the right side. So 2 strikes, 2 spares, and an open for Plymouth Whitemarsh. Newell has 146. That matches her first game score. This is the pivotal 10th frame. You can have a maximum 10 free rolls in the 10th. Cosgrave with her first ball in the 10th. And she gets a strike. She has a double. Now Naparowski gets all 10. She has 5 strikes in the last 6. That's her 6th strike. A season high 202. That is her first 200 since the 2017-18 school year in conference play. And she has a chance for a lot more with 2 more balls. Naparowski had a 482 in the previous meeting against PW on December 5th, 2018 at Pike Lanes. Cosgrave, second ball will be a 9. So she's at 157 and counting, much better than her first game. Her second. Oh, can the 7 go? No. 211 for Naparowski. She can get a 212. Her best last season was 219. Her all-time high series in conference play, I think, is 523. That was as a freshman. She can't get it. But a very solid second game for Maddie Naparowski, 211. Cosgrave had a 158, and Brooklyn Haasses, her 4th straight of the game. 149 and counting for the 2-hole for PW. Abington up 764 to 675. Annie Sokoski now. Wow, what a ball.
Adrian, nice job, Adrian. That's a great game, hon.
Leaves the 4 and 7. She's at 188. Believe it or not, if she gets a spare here, she has an opportunity, perhaps, for 200. What an improvement from her 114 first game. Second ball is 9 for Haasses. Brooklyn Haasses had a 151 first game, 158 and counting here. She's got to hurry up. Got to hurry up. She's going to miss it. And loses her chance on 200. Finishes with 190. That is a season high for Annie Solkoski. Her previous was 186, and Haas will finish it off with a spare. So a strike and a spare finishes with 159. Right now, that's a free 10 for Haas. Sarah Lewis gets all 10. She's at 141 and counting. In relief of Jess Solkoski. Right now, Abington at 802, PW at 685. So Abington has a new high game this season. Previous was 800. Wilson only gets free. She'll have a much lower score than the previous game. She's 110 right now. Lewis second ball. She'll leave an array of pins. The 1 free 9, 8, and 10. So Sarah Lewis, her final ball in game 2. Her performance might allow Brian Wenders to keep her in for game 3. And with rolls like that, we might see her for game 3. So strike and a spare that frame gives Lewis 157. Destiny Wilson leaves the 10. Meaning she'll finish with a 116 after a 165. Kayla Harsall. All 10 for her. I think it's now 21 strikes for Abington this game. 838. Last season, Abington's high game was 852. There's a chance that the Ghosts can eclipse that here. Abington had an 882 game back in the 2015-16 season when Nip Prolowski was a freshman. Alexander now in the left lane gets everything. She has a double. Harsall will have a double. So a strike and free for Alexander. Harsall looking for her first turkey. Cannot, but a much better second game. Had a 150 first and a 167 game 2. 167. Abington is now at 855. And Alexander with an X. 3, 5, 149. She's at 300 exactly. So now the anchors. 855 to 728. Abington. And Daling will leave the 7. Abington's at 873. Newell will get 8. If Dalen converts and gets a strike, it will be the highest game for Abington in conference play. In the last 4 years. Dalen will not do it. 9 open. Finishes with a 148. So Abington finishes game 2 with 873. Newell finishes with 154 with an 8 open. And that means Abington wins game 2 873 to 736. So Abington has 1 win, PW has 1 win. We'll be back with more Suburban 1 American Girls Bowling on CITV after this. Warren Cosgrave starts off our third and final game for PW in the left lane with a split 7. Maddie Niporowski starts with an 8 count. Had her first 200 game of the season. A 211 in game 2. She's right now at 390. So she gets another 210. She'll have the first 600 series for Abington since Dana Daling in 2016. Lauren Cosgrave will have her second ball. After Niporowski needs a lot of spin, she'll get both. Maddie Niporowski in the groove, averaging 155.89. Her average is going to go up with another solid game. PW enters this final game trailing 1,576 to 1482. 1 game to 1. PW needs a big win here to win 3-1. PW is going to win the season series, though, with the game 1 with another win. They will not lose the season series. With the game 1 win, PW is going to have at least 4 wins against Abington. Annie Solkoski had a stellar second game, 190 after 114 in the first. She gets 6. Brooklyn Haas, meanwhile, for PW has 5. Lauren Cosgrave, by the way, had an open. Now Annie Solkoski, her second ball. Annie Solkoski continuing the groove she had from the second frame. Brooklyn Haas responds with a spare. Now Sarah Lewis, her second straight game in the lineup after Jess Solkoski was in her spot in the first game. Lewis had a 157 in game 2. She has 5. Destiny Wilson would like to start off strong in the third game, and she does. PW's got to need to win this game by about 90 in order to win the match. And Lewis opens her first frame in game 3 of 3. Alexander rolls the first roll gutter of the match. The balls have been doing a good job rolling until that. Kayla Harsall might now be dealing with some crazy oil shifts. Gets a 6 count. 1, 2, 4, and 7 remain in her, and 8 remain in her sights. It's 32-28 Abington. In the first frame of game 3, it's 1 game to 1. Alexander bounces back with a gutter 8. Second ball for Hartzell. Knocks down all. And now Ashley Newell in her first frame of game 3. Now here's Sierra Daling. We'll get her dose of 10. First strike in the game for Abington. 1 strike, 3 spares in an open. 46-44 before this roll for Newell. And Newell gets her spare. 46 all after 1 frame in game 3. Abington has a big pinfall lead though. But it's 1-1 in the match. So a strike, 2 spares, and 2 opens for PW. Maddie Naprolowski gets 8. Cosgrave will leave the 6 and 10. If you notice, Lauren Cosgrave is using a Facenda Whitaker house ball. She is more of a middle of the lane bowler. Niporowski was is 2 for 2. And is 3 for 3 so far. And starting the first 2 frames of the match with spare. Did it in frames 1 and 2 and games 1, 2, and 3. Cosgrave follows suit with her first mark of the game. She has 18 counting. Whoa, boy, Annie Stolkowski has been in the groove until now. A split 8. It's a dreaded 7-10 in the Professional Bowling Association. In the big tournament, if you convert, I think that's either $10,000 or $100,000. So imagine if you'd be going for your college scholarship. Think of it that way. Hasis starts her second frame of game 3 with a 7 count. But it's right down the middle. You do not want to be symmetrically good in bowling when there's nothing there. Hasis will only knock down 1. She'll have 25 through 2. Now here's Sarah Lewis. Well, right down the middle, and she'll not be able to wiggle the 5 out of the way. Destiny Wilson, only Lady Colonial for strikes so far in game 3 of 3. She'll get 7. Wilson, 147 out of 150 at the 2018 Eastern PA Singles Competition. Her highest game was 139. Interesting tidbit, in PW Girls Bowling history, no Lady Colonial has bowled a 200 game in the final game of qualifying, which is game 5. The highest was 199 by Nicole Esposito last year. That's another open for Sarah Lewis. So it's 89-85. Abington in the third game. This is looking really good, but can't convert. Strike and open for her. She has 28 and counting. Kayla Hartzell avoids trouble. Looks like the lanes are now controlling the tempo. Game 2, the bowlers were controlling the tempo. Game 1, PW won 746 to 726. Game 2, Abington won 873 to 736. Alexander can't brush aside the right side. Nikki Alexander in lane 42 to right lane leaves the 3, 5, 6, 9, and 10. Hartzell gets both. Back-to-back spares for her. Give her 28 and counting. Good sportsmanship from Alexander. All bowlers showing sportsmanship regardless of the uniform. Alexander looking much better. Ooh, leaves 1 standing. So after a gutter ball 8 in her first frame, a 5 and 4 to 17 and counting. Now the anchors. Sierra Daling in the left lane for Abington. She'll leave the middle pin. Newell, meanwhile, leaves the 10. So while we wait for them to go, the Plymouth Whitemarsh High School cheerleaders recently earned a spot in the 2019 PIAA State Championships in January and 2 bids in the 2019 Universal Cheerleader Association National Championship, Orlando, Florida in February. That is some big, big news. And Deborah Tornetta has done a great job doing that. So, spares for both of the anchors, Daling and Newell. It's 127 to 117. Abington for 2 frames of the third game. Abington leads by pinfall. PW won game 1, Abington game 2. If PW wins this game but cannot eclipse Abington's pinfall, it will be 2 games to 2. But Abington will have the greater pinfall. Manny Naprolowski. Look at the ball control. She is definitely mastering it. But she needs to get some strikes, though, if she wants to have a chance at a 600 series. Lauren Cosgrave leaves the 9-pin. So, 6-pin, sorry, on the left side. Has got to avoid the gutter there. She can't. And now the Borowski, if she wants to get a 210, will need to get a string of strikes like she did in game 2. Lauren Cosgrave's second ball is head on. Back-to-back spares for her. Now Annie Solkoski gets Abington's second strike of game 3. Brooklyn Hossis leaves the 5-pin. It is doable. PW has 1 strike so far in game 3. That was Destiny Wilson in frame 1. Sarah Lewis has 4 more pins, and Hossis can't convert. Abington right now is 23-7 in terms of games in conference play. PW is 17-13. Last season, Abington was 44-12, good for second. PW last year 36-20, had a 696. Just missing out on making the regional tournament for the first time just by pinfall, but didn't have enough. And Wilson rolls it into the gutter. That's PW's second first roll gutter in the game. That is something you cannot do. Abington could surge further ahead. Now it's close to 40 Fahrenheit outside. Been a mild start to 2019 temperature-wise. New Year's Day was around 60 Fahrenheit. All 10 for Wilson. She has both 10 counts. That will go down as a spare, though, because she gutted the first ball. And that's a 9 count for Kayla Hartzell, who has spare in her first 2 frames of this final game. The next edition of CITV Sports is scheduled for Tuesday, January 15th, 2019. Suburban 1 American dual swimming and diving. Upper Dublin versus Plymouth Whitemarsh. Upper Dublin girls swimming has won 29 consecutive conference titles. But Upper Dublin boys got to watch out. PW boys still undefeated on the season, if I'm not mistaken. And that's the circumstances permit. And that is an empty second ball. Alexander having the case of the mishandle. By the way, programming note, the previous edition of CITV Sports was on December 10th, 2018. That was dual swimming and diving against Harrod, we were unable to film wrestling against Hapoel Horsham on December 19th, 2018 due to schedule conflicts. We are tentatively scheduling a makeup wrestling broadcast for February 2nd, 2019, a Saturday at Norristown Area High School. That's right, we might have to go on the road due to how the schedule works out. That's if circumstances permitting, so stay tuned. So now Alexander's second ball is 5 out of 6, so she opens. Sierra Daling's second will go in the gutter. No, 1 strike for 1 spare and 3 opens for Abington in the third. Abington leads 197 to 164. Here's Ashley Newell looking for her first strike. And this looks to be a close game. It's 197 to 180. Lauren Cosgrave will go to the right lane, number 42, or PW in the 4th frame. Newell will finish it out. Nice. Not hard, just easy. Spare, and spare for her, 47 counting. Cosgrave begins the fourth frame of game 3 with 5. PW no strikes in the third, but 3 spares and 2 opens. Right now, 1 strike, 7 spares, and 7 opens. How about Maddie Naporowski with her first strike of game 3? She had 5 strikes, had 6 strikes, in game 2. And Cosgrave has trouble. Gets a few, though. She's at 50 and counting. Here's Sokolski. Can't get the 10 to budge. Annie Sokolski entered this game with a 304. Brooklyn Hossis leaves the 4. PW this season has used 8 bowlers. Also Sarah Roshino, who has a 113 in 11 games. Gabby Pomian, a 10989 in 9 games. And Libby Boyle, 97.67 in 3. I believe Gabby Pomian is the only current bowler to have varsity experience for PW from the 2016-17 school year. Hossis converts her second spare of the game. Of her 44 and counting. Annie Sokolski will finish it off with her third mark and 4 frames in game 4. So Annie Sokolski, 129 average. Right now, a lot better than that. Averaging 152 in the first 2 games. Wilson can't get enough spin. Destiny Wilson last year did not have any 500 series in the regular season in conference play. Yet had the 552 for third place at the Suburban 1 League Championships at Facenda. Sarah Lewis, though, that's her third frame out of 4 this game with a 6 or fewer on the first ball. Wilson has to get the rest of the 7. She's on a gutter spare, though. A good approach. Nicely done. And that's her second straight spare. She has 51 and counting. Sarah Lewis will get 3 of 4. That's her third open in 4 frames. She had a 157 in the second game after not playing varsity in the first since Jess Sokolski had the spot. Here's Nikki Alexander. Still looking for a mark. Kayla Hartzell gets 9. Well, if you're wondering about Eastern PA bowling, make sure you visit www.burksbowling.com for information regarding Eastern PA bowling, including the regional tournament, the state tournament, District 3 competition, and more. Dana Brown does a good job organizing in the Eastern PA circuit. He also works at Governor Mifflin. PW, though, has only had 2 bowlers ever qualify for states, but none during the regional era, as it's shanked left, nothing going for Alexander on that roll. Hartzell looking to counter. She gets her third mark in 4 frames. Spare, spare, open, spare. Here's Ashley Newell, the anchor for PW. Nice ball. Really good ball. That's why she only leaves the 4. Now there's Sierra Daling. Strike, spare, open. And have to deal with 4 more pins. It's a down match for Sierra Daling. Who gets about 156 and a half. Who got to hurry. She gets it. Spare, 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 spare for Newell. 66 and counting for 4. 258 to 243 Abington in the final game. Abington won the second game. PW won the first. Good roll there for Daling. 1 strike, 3 spares, and an open for Abington. 3 spares, 2 opens for PW. PW just 1 strike in the game. That was Destiny Wilson in frame 1. Maddie Niporowski dancing and can't jump hard enough. That worked for her once this match. She wants that 600 series. She has a chance, though. She's at 390 plus 70. She's at 460 and counting. Niporowski's season best is 509. Cosgrave got a 6 count. Niporowski. Free spares and open and a strike, though. This is her best match of the season. Abington seems to do well for Facenda. This is one of the better lanes in the Suburban 1 American. Good pickup for Lauren Cosgrave. 3 spares and 2 opens. Gotta watch out for Andy Solkowski. Looks like a split. The 2-8 or 2-7. It is manageable. It's 298 to 253 Abington. Here's Haas's off a spare on the left lane for PW. Leaves the head pin, the 3, and the 8. PW's next conference match is scheduled for January 14, 2019 at Earl Bowl in Quakertown against the Quakertown Panthers. PW girls swept Quakertown in the previous meeting that was at Facenda. Cannot convert in the split. Solkowski thought she had it. Haas thought she had that one, but only got 2 of the 3. There's just a lot being left out there. Now it's Sarah Lewis looking for her first X. She'll leave a pin standing. Now Wilson will leave the 1 and 2 pins. So right now 308 to 285 Abington. Abington had a big win in the second game, 873 to 736 after PW took game 1, 746 to 703. So Abington has the greater pinfall despite the match being 1-1. And Lewis leaves another pin out there for PW. 4 opens and 5 frames for Lewis after a solid game 2 on her first game on varsity for today at 157. Wilson will look to capitalize. And answers. Third straight frame of a mark. That's 3 spares for her. Give her 69 and counting. Kayla Hartzell with 3 spares and just 1 open. Abington has only 3 strikes this game. PW just 1. So slow start in terms of just getting 1 roll. Good ball for Nikki Alexander. It's her first strike of the game. She's at 42 and counting. Hartzell with the spare. 4 spares of 5 frames, not shabby. 75 and counting. She is inching closer to 400. Ashley Newell. Oh boy. Got the 8-10 split. Abington up 327 to 313. And that is just 1 of 2 on the split. So it's 314 for PW. 83 and counting for Newell. So Sierra Dowling at a 72 and counting after the 7 count. Her teammate Maddie Borowski will start the 6 on the left lane. And that was not a good ball. Not enough speed. So Dowling will pick it up. Neporowski's got a chance. No, cannot. Did not have enough speed. So it's split open. She's at 88 and counting. Looks like she'll reach the 500s, though. And, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Chicago Bears in the wild card round of the NFL, having the Saints in New Orleans in the divisional series. Of course, a lot of these bowlers will probably be watching that right now, just trying to improve their bowling scores. It is a 6th count for Annie Solkowski. Lauren Cosgrave now, her second ball in the 6th frame on the right side. No spin at all. Abington's up 366 to 332. Solkowski going takes 3 of 4. Now Sarah Lewis for Abington. Now I have a story from you from years ago about Abington bowling at PW. There was a time in which Abington girls bowling didn't have enough bowlers for varsity one day. Had 4 girls. Head coach Brian Wenders had to pull Dan Chang, no relation to the PW Changs, from the varsity squad. So Abington had a bowl with a boy on the roster. That was some time ago, probably in the last 8 to 10 years. So Lewis opened. So did Brooklyn Hosses for PW. And now Destiny Wilson on back-to-back spares. Will get 7. Still not happy with herself. 150, 165 game 1 and 116 game 2, and Hartzell gets her first strike of game 3. And that is Abington's 4th strike of the game. Only. Abington had, I believe, a little over 20 strikes in game 2. That's why Abington had 873 and PW had 736. Abington's season best series is 2,321. PW's high is 2,141. Wilson is struggling to find the answer. Now it's anchor Sierra Daling on the left side for Abington. PW defeat Abington 3-1 in the first meeting this season. Abington might reverse fortunes. That's a 9 count for Daling. Of the Daling sisters. Nikki Alexander gets 9 for her 6th frame of game 3. It's right now 416 to 373 Abington. If Sierra Daling qualifies for regionals, this will be the 5th straight season that at least one Abington bowler whose last name's Daling would be in regionals. And Sierra Daling would like that to happen. She gets her 3rd straight spare. 1 strike, a spare, and 3 opens for Abington in frame 6, who has 417 through 6. Alexander gets nothing else. That's her 5th open in 6 frames. She has 60 and counting through 6. It's 417, the 373 as Ashley Newell has her anchor reg. Booyah! That is only the 3rd strike of the game for PW, and that's Newell's first. A strike, 4 spares, and an open. PW had 1 strike, no spares, 4 opens, that's 6th frame. It's 417 to 383. Abington Ghosts over the Plymouth Whitemarsh Lady Colonials. Have 4 frames left in the match before we bid farewell for the time being. Maddie Neporowski. Oh, much better ball. She gets all 10. She's at 98 and counting through 7. If she strikes out, I'm not sure if that's going to be 210. That's her 2nd strike. Neporowski with 179 and 211 her first 2 games. eclipsing her previous season high at 178. Now here's Annie Solkowski for the Ghost in lane 42. And that is a split. Now here's Cosgrave. Oh, can't get the pin to swing around. That was a split 7. It's a 6-7-10 for Solkowski on the right lane. Cosgrave has the free just to deal with on the left. Really good ball, but not enough speed. If there was more speed, probably would have knocked down all of them. So 2 of 3. It's 91 and counting through 7 for Annie Solkowski. Cosgrave picks it up. Her 4th spare in 7 frames. And game 3, she's at 88 and counting. Needs a 109 for a 400 plus. Cosgrave's series high this season is 460. Brooklyn Haassis. There's a much better throw. Leaving just the 9. It's 436 to 402 Abington. PW needs to win this game to win the season series. Lewis leaves the 6-10. Not what Haassis needed to do there. PW has left too many opportunities open for Abington. Abington has been heating up. And it is right down the middle. Abington, since that 3-1 loss to PW on December 5th, 2018, has just 4 total game losses in conference play. One of them, of course, to PW in this match. That's another open for Lewis. How about 6 opens, 7 frames in game 3 for Sarah Lewis, who was not on varsity in game 1 because Jess Solkowski occupied the free hole position. Solkowski had a 113. Jess Solkowski. It's time for Destiny Wilson. Beautifully executed. Her 2nd strike of the game. She has 94 and counting. Needs a 119 for a 400 series. Time for Kayla Hartzell on 3 straight marks. She was off her 1st strike of the game. And it appears Maddie Nebrowski will have her 2nd 500 series of the season, after having her 5th varsity 200 game of her career. Didn't have any 200 games as a freshman or sophomore. Alexander trying to get the jersey strike, but the 5 won't budge. Hartzell on her 2nd. Symmetrically good, which is symmetrically bad for bowling because that's not what she needed. Now, Nikki Alexander will try to get her 1 pin spare. On the boys circuit, Alfredo Jimenez for PW Varsity, who doesn't bowl too many varsity games, got a 229 game. Nicely done for Alfredo. Here's Tyler Panzer entering his final frame for PW Varsity boys with a chance at 600 series. Hartzell could not convert. Alexander doesn't either. Dealing with the 10, Ashley Newell on the strike though for Plymouth Whitemarsh. Newell can be one of the contenders for a top spot in Suburban 1 American in the future. Just needs to be consistent. Cannot knock down the 7, but Dowling picked up the spare. 1 strike, 1 spare, 3 opens for Abington. It's 479 to 439 for 7, pending the roll. Abington leads it Abington won game 2, PW won game 1. So at the worst, PW's going to split the season series. And that is open. And Ashley Newell trying to get encouragement from her dad. So free opens, a strike and a spare. Now the 8th frame, Cosgrave gets a strike. Her first strike in game 3. She has 7 in the match. Leadoff, Maddie Borowski will be on the left lane for Abington. Here's Brooklyn Haasas, the PW2 hole. Oh, nice ball. That looked like a 180 as in the pin moved out of position like it was going to go down. But that usually happens when the pin setter can't set on top of the pin. Here's Borowski. Not enough speed. Does not appear she's going to get the 210. But she is at a 502 right now. Now Haasas will brush it aside. So 469 for PW, 493 to Abington in the third game in frame 8. Borowski would like to get it done. Not enough speed there. It's her third open frame of the game. 116 and counting. Puts her at a 506. Her season high is 509. So, barring nothing but gutters, she'll get a new season high in this match. Wilson, another good ball, but 9 count is what she has. Here's Annie Solkowski. Oh, nice pin action there. Her second strike of the game. Give her 101 and counting. That's already over 400 for Solkowski, whose series best, or the season, is 418. It appears that she could eclipse that. In the PW Varsity Boys circuit, it appears that Tyler Panzer rolled a 611 series. Nicely done. Chris Allen for Abington Boys had a 256 game, 588 series. Now Sarah Lewis gets an 8 count to start. Wilson could not finish it off though. But Nikki Alexander gets all 10, her second strike. This is PW's first frame in game 3 with multiple strikes. Sarah Lewis, second ball, dead on. Gets just her second mark of the game. That's 76 and counting. Ashley Newell. Newell bowled every game on varsity last season. This is only her 4th conference match this year. Missed some time. Trying to get her legs back in the groove. What a good ball for Kayla Hartzall. Her second strike of the game. Give her 121 and counting. Newell has 5 spares, a strike, and 2 opens. 2 strikes, 2 spares, and an open. Not a bad frame for PW in the 8th. However, it's 527 to 507 Abington in frame 8 of game 3. Abington won the second game 873 to 736. PW won game 1 746 to 703. Daling takes care of business with her second strike of the game. 133 and counting. Napiorowski starts the 9th frame for Abington on the right side with a 9. It will be much lower than a 210, but she could get in the 150s or 160s. So 3 strikes, a spare, and an open for Abington in the 8th. Naporowski's second. That's a really good one. 126 and counting through 9 for Maddie Naporowski, who had her first 200 game this season in game 2. Naporowski's high series is 523 on varsity. That was as a freshman. Now here's Annie Solkowski. Gets 9 after Lauren Cosgrave on the left side for PW. got 6. And we also, for those of you who might not know, like to congratulate PW Spanish teacher Rich Madel for getting the Pennsylvania State Modern Language Association Teacher of the Year at the organization's conference in October 2018. That's a big accomplishment. Mr. Madel has been at PW for about a decade now. Well done, Mr. Madel. So it's a 6-1 for Cosgrave, 122 through 9. She has eclipsed a 400 series. A 9 and spare for Annie Solkowski. Had a bad first game where she had 3 spares, everything else open. But had 5 strikes in the second game, 2 strikes and good amount of spares in the third, 121 and counting for her. Sarah Lewis now on the right side for Abington. Has field goal posts. Brooklyn Hosses has the 1 and 2 pins though on the left for PW. Last season, Hosses had 17 games, 112.94 average. A 167 was her high in a 367 series. She has done much better this season. Gets both. Hosses back-to-back spares for her. Give her 105 and counting. Her season high for series is 444. Oh, that is too close for comfort for Lewis. She only gets 1. She nearly got none. Wow. 2 spares, the rest opens for Sarah Lewis. She's at 93 and counting. Averaging 125.4 on varsity. Cassidy Wilson can make up ground. 594, 539 Abington in the middle of the 9th frame of game 3. Can't knock it down. 548 for PW, 594 for Abington. It appears Abington is going to win the match, so the season series will be 4-4, barring catastrophe. Hartstall can't get the messenger to knock down the 10. So each with 9 counts. Hartstall on the right side for Abington. Plymouth Whitemarsh is Destiny Wilson on the left. Our next bowling edition of CITV Sports is scheduled for Wednesday, January 16th here at Facenda, Whitaker, between North Penn and Plymouth Whitemarsh boys. North Penn entering January 9th. How about really good? First place. Good mark for Wilson. Hartstall might not have enough speed. Not enough twist either. And that leaves her at 139 through 9. Nikki Alexander would like to get a double here. She had a double at one point in game 2. Toward the end of the game. She gets her second double of the match. Back-to-back strikes for her. Now here's Sierra Dalen for Abington. She'll lead a 2, 4, and 7 pins on the right lane. Ashley Newell has a chance to pick up ground for the Lady Colonials. She leaves the 6 and 10, so right now Abington 626, PW 585. The Lady Colonials average 636, gotten the 700s in games 1 and 2. A good ball for Daling, but couldn't get it to ricochet. And Newell, though, better fate. 1 strike, 3 spares, and an open for PW in the 9th frame. Abington, 3 opens, 2 spares, no strikes. Our 10th and final frame of the match. Here are game 3. Manny Borowski for 126 and counting. Oh, is it going to knock it down? She's happy about that because that means she has a chance of getting in the 150s. She's already at her season high, and believe it or not, Mandy Naparowski has just set a new varsity high in her career in series total at 534. 523 was her previous total. That was as a freshman. She'll finish at 144. That will give her a 534 series, a new career high for Maddie Naparowski. Cosgrave for 6 and not enough. 129 for Lauren Cosgrave. She'll finish with a of 420. Here's Annie Solkoski. We'll get a few pins. Here's Hassis. Brooklyn Hassis. Pins not kind. 5-10 split. Not the easiest of conversions. Lauren Cosgrave entered today 16th in average. Her day today was around a 140, which is above her average of 131 and change. Free and free for Solkoski. Annie Solkoski. 130 is her final tally in the game, and that's a 434 series for Solkoski. Hassis right now at a 431 series. She'll get 1 and 2. Gets at least 1. 122 is her game free score. That puts her at a final score of 432. 444 is her season best. So, Sarah Lewis, 157 in game 2, did not bowl varsity game 1. That was just Solkoski. Gets 6. She's at 99. Here's Destiny Wilson. Wanted to strike. It's 661 to 629 Abington. The Lady Ghosts are going to win the match 3-1. Nothing for Lewis. She'll finish with 99. That's 266. 2 game total. 157 and 99. That's 256. 256. Wilson now. She's in the 420s range. She'll finish at 421 after the miss there. 140 final. 421. Now we go to our 4 holes. PW bowlers not recording any turkeys in this match. Nikki Alexander with a strike on her first ball in the 10th. BPW's first. Now here's Kayla Hartzell. Oh, the 10 was thinking about it. Thought about it. She is stunned. She's thinking, how dare you? But Abington at 670, PW at 629. Abington averages 702. Has a chance at 700 with a mark here. Because still have Sierra Daling. And that's head on. So there's a spare for Hartzell. That's the first mark in this 10th frame. Now here's Alexander. Gobble, gobble. It's the first turkey by any PW bowler this match. And what a time to get it. 671 to 659. Abington PW is actually not out of the game. Considering that Daling opened her 9th frame and Newell comes in the 10th frame on back-to-back spares. And that's a 9 count. Or Hartzell 158. That's a 475. And that is a clover for Alexander. 680 to 679, and PW has a chance to enter the anchor leg ahead. Alexander at 449 right now. Her highest series, though, this season is 491. Not going to get there, but looking for a 5-bagger. That would be a sweet ending. 5 strikes in the game. And it's going in the middle. Nice finish for Alexander. 4 strikes in a row and a 9, a 158, a 458 series. What a turnaround. And PW is ahead 688 to 680. And the final frame. Anchor leg. At one point, it looked like Abington had this all wrapped up until Abington just gave away pins. Sierra Daling will have the first crack. All 10 for her. Newell needs to match Wits. That's a 690. Oh, it's heading right there. Jersey strike! 708 to 690 PW. 2 rolls left each. PW wins the game. PW will have the match but win the season series 5-3 because Abington won by close to 90 in the second game. And that is 2 in a row for Sierra Daling. Newell can't get it. 717 to 700. I think that will be enough for PW though. Now the final roll for Daling. She'll get 8. 177. And Newell can't get it, but PW will split the match with Abington, winning the third game 717 to 708. We'll get the totals for you momentarily. But what a match. PW takes the season series 5-3 from a team that entered the contest tied for first in Abington. And PW did its job picking up 2 games in the standings on Abington. So Abington had 703, 873, 708. PW 746, 736, 717. A 472 for Daling, 468 for Newell. The final score is Plymouth Whitemarsh 2199, but Abington 2284. So Abington and PW split 2-2, but the Lady Ghosts win the match by a pinfall of 2,284 to 2,199. That's another edition of CITV Sports. I'm Scott Samuel David Weiss. For more information regarding CITV programming, visit www.colonialsd.org/community/CITV.